So per usual, everything on this channel is for educational purposes only and is not intended to provide financial advice. So I actually started 2 other videos this week, but I never got a chance to publish them because I was in jury duty and missed out on most of the drama. But going forward, you can expect a video from me every day starting Monday. So what I'm about to say regarding Bitfinex is more than an I told you so. So I'm sorry if you lost funds there, but it was bound to happen. Go check out my last Bitfinex downtime video. There's plenty of other people who moved their stuff off of Bitfinex after that happened. I don't know what to say. I mean, how can you expect an institution or exchange to change when their bottom line remains unaffected? Most users didn't leave after the last downtime. Status quo remained. Poor security measures remained. In order for any change to occur, users need to vote with their dollars and just leave the exchange. I understand that they're the largest USD trading platform available to US customers, but that's really no excuse to remain on an exchange. And like I said in many other videos, I've never traded on Bitfinex. Their UI was just too confusing for me from the beginning. But from here on out, everything else I have to say about Bitfinex is speculation. So it's looking now like they will implement a socialized loss system. Whether or not that's actually legal, I don't know. I'd expect the CFTC or SEC or some other regulatory agency to step in if they haven't already. There will likely be a large quantity of complaints filed against Bitfinex after this loss is all said and done. Even currently, I'm sure there's complaints being filed. The bottom line is Bitfinex should not use customer funds to bail out their own ineptitude. And it's really sad to even see that coming down to this. So I was asking Twitter, what do you guys think? Have these exchange hacks set Bitcoin back at all? I think the right answer is yes, it has, but to what degree, I don't know if we can predict that. But so I don't think that these hacks aren't affecting anything. They clearly are having some effect on things like consumer confidence, especially, even though you and I may know that it's not Bitcoin, it's the exchange itself. That isn't really conveyed well to the general public, I don't think. You'll notice we have articles in Bloomberg, articles in Reuters, another article in Bloomberg talking about the socialized losses. Here's where Finex is basically saying we're working on figuring out how to do this. So TA in general feels largely useless in these type of quote-unquote black swan scenarios, regardless of what people like Kazanomics might say. But until all the swirling Bitfinex FUD gets straightened out, I literally think anything can happen as far as Bitcoin price action is concerned. This guy named Beatcoin on Twitter has some evidence that the Bitfinex hack actually is what caused the drop in the first place, as well as the previous Bitfinex downtime. They might be related. So I'll link all this up. So I wanted to go through some fundamental stuff real quick. We can see hash rates recovered. It dropped to about 5%, and it's back to where it was, almost near all-time highs. So that's good. That says miners have either ramped up or turned their rigs back on, or the people who stopped mining are gone. You can interpret that any number of ways. Some other fundamental stuff. Segregated witness is coming soon. It's basically an update to Bitcoin and side chains. I'm not going to go into it in this video, but it's seen as a general improvement on current Bitcoin protocol. There's also the Winklevi ETF, which is back on track. So says Money Morning, but there's some regulatory evidence as to why. I'll let you read this, but basically there was a rule that was changed that essentially gave the ETF some sort of stamp of approval. And also, just today, or a few days ago, we had Kim.com announce that Megaupload will run on Bitcoin. I know he talked about it a while back, but he made it more clear recently. So just to show you, I was long before that drop. I do trade. This is what this looks like. not a lot of people show you their losses, but most of the people who give charts and analysis don't even trade. So it's important when you're listening to somebody or looking for somebody to listen to that you realize they actually have skin in the game and they do trade. So yeah, there's just one of my positions from that event. So let's go over some charts, pick up the pieces. Here's the daily pitchfork. We actually closed out of the daily pitchfork. Super bearish. And again, all this TA, I don't know how much it's going to mean in the long run. We might just recover right back to the mean where we were around 4,400. I don't know. But all things being equal, blue has been a good buy on this pitchfork, okay? So there's that. Take from what you will. And then if we're looking at RSI, so I moved this RSI threshold to 20. And you can see the last 3 times we've been around 20 have been the local bottoms. We'll see if that proves to be the case again here. You can also see that Stoke, again, it's bottomed, it flipped, but I think until it's above the threshold, it just can, trend indefinitely. So that doesn't really mean much by itself. If we look at cloud, I mentioned in the last video that this was a target. If you saw my roadmap tweets, this was also a target there. So anytime there's a flat line on the cloud, that's a high probability target, flat Kumo. So it was a high probability target when we were here, and it's a high probability target when we're here. That doesn't change until we're well past, the price is well past the actual Kumo, flat Kumo. Now you might be asking yourself, well, if it was a high probability target, why weren't you short? That's a good question. I wasn't. So again, you might be asking yourself, well, we dropped so far, why did we stop where we did stop? And you can see basically we stopped at horizontal support, which used to be horizontal resistance. I didn't have any bids here. I was away, not able to trade really. So there's just some evidence that that's why we stopped where we stopped. Last video I mentioned if we close below the 50, we may touch the 200. When we did, at that time it sounded crazy. It's still crazy that it happened as quickly as it did, but it did. And like I mentioned in the last video, the move was explosive because of the amount of sideways action that we've had. B-bands were tight. When B-bands are that tight and we get a move, the move just doesn't stop. There's a lot of, it's like a coil, wound up coil, it just explodes. So how much of this is related to the Bitfinex hack? Who knows right now? Who knows how much of that was sold information ahead of time? There were $20 million in contracts on futures that were sold at here. So who knows if that was just a break of the B-bands, or if that was somebody who knew something about Bitfinex ahead of time selling off that information. Who knows? If we look at some harmonics that I posted on Twitter, so I posted these before we actually dropped that these were targets a while ago. I'll link that up in the description, but the harmonic did complete. 877 is pretty good. You want 886 for the bat. So our first target's a 618. Second target would be this 1.272 fib. I'm just pulling that from, here's what the bat looks like. I'm just pulling those targets from this website. I actually forget what this is. It's profit something. So they're just saying your targets are 618, 1.272, and 1.618. But I think it's best to wait to confirm that this is actually support before you go along. You could go along here and say, oh, the pattern completed, we're going to bounce. I would wait to push in all your chips, but that's just me. And then if you look, there's another harmonic, the butterfly, drawn like this. This one's actually pretty good too. 1.27 is what you want. generally. Again, the long entry is around 4,100. Target's around 5,100, so it's a 1K CNY range. And again, I'm pulling that from this website discussing harmonics. Here's what the pattern looks like. If we go down to the 4-hour EMAs, we were actually more oversold on this last drop than we were overbought on the last trend. So that's another reason why I think we'll return to the mean, which is around 42, 4,100. We could just stay sideways until the mean catches up to 200 EMA. But I think we'll try to reach for the 200 again. Overall, the hack didn't affect the Bitcoin protocol, obviously. It affected an exchange. Whether or not those coins have been sold already, I'm not sure. So if they try to get dumped somewhere, that might affect price. Obviously, it's 120,000 coins, I think. Who knows right now? That's why all this is kind of up in the air. Here's the hourly cloud. You can see we're above the cloud. We haven't quite cleared horizontal resistance, but should we close above horizontal resistance here, it would confirm like a Kumo breakout. We have a Kumo twist. We have a TK cross that happened a while ago. We're printing these U fractals. Those are generally bottomy type fractals versus printing M or toppy fractals. So that's all I have for today. If you have any comments or questions, let me know. If I misspoke regarding any of the Bitfinex crap, let me know. Question of the day: what is the best indicator I'm not using? Happy trading.